Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Public Works Podcast. My name is Joseph Blancke, and today we got a real treat for you. His name is Brian Blancke, and he is the Assistant Public Works Director of York County in beautiful South Carolina. Brian, say what's up to everybody.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
All right, all right. So, Brian, you're the Assistant Public Works Director of York County. So let's kind of get into the job description. I mean, we know what directors are. We don't know what directors really do, and we don't know what assistant public works directors really do. So give us kind of a snapshot of a random Tuesday and then talk about what your job description is and what you're over.
Okay. So I guess a little description. So York County is a suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina. We have about 300,000 residents just on the state line south of Charlotte. So we get a lot of the growth that's going on. With Charlotte, we're one of the top growing areas of the country with housing and things like that. So, and then our public works department, we have 260 employees, 7 divisions. So that includes road maintenance, water and sewer utility, solid waste collection, solid waste recycling, disposal. We have a landfill, fleet maintenance, facilities maintenance, and then lastly, animal control. And so I guess, Assistant Public Works Director, I don't know. I don't think a lot of people know what an assistant director does in some ways, or even,
Right.
any kind of mid-level manager. Sometimes they're like, why do we need those guys? That kind of thing. But so now I think you get into, I'm right there with the director, making most of the bigger, larger decisions that go on, overseeing the department, make sure it's running smoothly. Occasionally the director has bigger fish to fry with county management or elected officials, that kind of thing. Doesn't really have the time to dive into those day-to-day details of the operation. So I guess I'm more of a liaison between director and the staff, kind of have a closer eye on what's going on day to day and what's working, what's not working, sorting through problems, making sure everybody's got the tools and equipment they need, and then kind of, connect as the liaison for them going up when they're having concerns or issues or lack of equipment or things like that, kind of advocate for them and say, hey, what they're asking for, it's legit, they need it, and kind of be a proponent for them.
Sure. So you talk York County. It seems like not everybody, but a good amount of people that I know that are moving to South Carolina. Is that where they're moving? Is, like you said, one of the fastest growing parts of the country. So I'm guessing everybody I know that's moving to South Carolina, they're probably landed in York County. Is that about right?
So when it comes to South Carolina, the most popular area is probably Greenville, South Carolina. In the upstate, it's kind of about an hour away from us. They get a lot of the growth. I think the other parts of South Carolina, like Charleston, that are more popular, they're already at their capacity, or nobody can really move there anymore or afford to. So at least we're a suburb of Charlotte, housing prices are a little bit lower, that kind of thing, taxes and things like that. So yeah, I think they're coming here. We have housing developments popping up left and right, and then of course those come with people and their trash and their roads and all those things. So yeah, we're definitely experiencing a lot of that growth.
Gotcha. And does anything change for you, like, I guess, mentality wise, or not necessarily operation, but just kind of looking at it from the outside, when you do have all this growth, when you do have all these subdivisions being put up and, all these one-way U-Hauls like you're stuck with, like, does anything change mentally for you guys, or is it kind of just, let's just keep going as we're going?
I mean, for a lot of our crews, it's probably, they show up, the public service aspect is definitely there for a lot of our teams and things like that. I mean, you can definitely tell they get a kick out of solving somebody's problem at the end of the day. But, in terms of York County and the growth, I started here when I was a intern in high school. I was in the 11th grade. So that's 20 something years ago, and just kind of stayed here, worked through college, never left. It was definitely a different place then. York County itself was mostly rural. And then just seeing that growth, kind of around those times, we also had the economy kind of tanked in 2008. with housing and things like that. So we had several housing develops and things like that that were totally abandoned by the developers, and then the county would have to come in and kind of take care of those residents. So definitely seen the impact of the growth from going from a kind of a rural town to our county has several larger municipalities within it, and so each of those cities has also grown, and definitely seen that growth, and it's impacted our
Sure.
budgets, our tools and equipment, and those kind of material needs to be able to accommodate those that come in from other places and expect a certain level of service. 20 years ago, we may not have had those services, and so we're always trying to grow and adapt and expand.
Sure. And is it, I guess, talk me through, you said a contractor will start a project, won't finish it, and you're kind of left with it. What happens next? Like, do you have to put houses up yourself? Like, is the city guys go or the county guys going up and finishing off windows and stuff? Or what's that look like?
No. So mostly when it comes to that, it's the infrastructure aspect, whatever the taxpayers' funds are going toward maintaining. So definitely roads and water and sewer utilities and sidewalks, all those kind of things. And it doesn't happen as much now. It happened a lot more so then when you couldn't get a mortgage through the banks because of all that was going on. Now it's kind of back up to where we see a new housing development take over areas where there were just trees before, and it's growing so rapidly. I don't see that issue happen as often as we did, say, 20 years ago, where we were basically we'd have to go in, use some of the developers' bond money that they put up initially to finish those projects on our own. But then the issues I guess we have today are such rapid growth that you get into impact fees and things like that, where we're trying to keep up with all that growth.
Gotcha. In your current position, being an assistant public works director, let's say you're mentoring your younger self, or young Ryan, he's in 11th grade. He's like, hey, more seasoned Ryan, what skill set should I pick up to be successful in what you're doing? What would you say that skill set should be?
Well, I don't, in terms of my own staff, I've always encouraged them to I guess imagine themselves in the job they want to be in, and to try to strive for what they're currently doing, and kind of show me what they have the potential to do or position they could take on, and I can see them in that role. But starting out, I definitely think being in this position, and I guess I say in my role, I serve two groups, and I would think that's the citizens of the county and then my staff. We have 260 employees, so they can have good days, they can have bad days, they can be stretched to their limits. And the same goes for the citizens. They're usually coming to us with a problem. So, they're at their wits' end on a tree's fallen, or there's a drainage issue, or there's flooding, or water leaks, all those things. So they're coming to us with a problem. And I think empathy is a key tool that helps you sort of put yourself in their role, see what they're facing, and kind of help. If it were me, if I were them, what would I want the county to do to be able to help them out, and that kind of thing. And the same goes for working with your staff, having a little bit of empathy, be able to know what they're going through, what could I do to kind of help them grow and expand in their career, and that kind of thing.
Sure. Thanks for that. All right, so you've been there for 20 plus years. I'm sure you got plenty of war stories for it. I need a story from Ryan of when something went wrong under your watch, what you did to fix it, and then what lessons you learned from it to apply to your future career.
All right. Well, I guess fortunately I haven't had any epic fails where they still whisper around the water cooler and joke about it, that kind of thing. I can't think of anything that just a blockbuster like that. But I've missed deadlines. I've delayed in making decisions, and then I've even just made flat out the totally wrong decision. Never should have gone that way. So in some cases they weren't a big deal, no harm, no foul. I moved on. But I would say when you get into those situations, the lessons I've learned is if I kind of got away with a mistake, I'm more likely to do that again because it didn't impact me or I didn't really own it. Um, you know, and so those mistakes or those errors where it was significant or I did have to step up and own it, I think those make more of an impact where you take those extra steps to make sure they don't happen again. Um, so some of my best learning experiences can be chalked up to rectifying a mistake and just kind of taking that extra effort to make sure I don't do those things again. So, but no, nothing crazy. That just they're legends about how bad I messed up. But yeah.
Gotcha. Totally understood. All right. Let's say, we fast forward another 10 years, right? What problem would whoever's sitting in your chair right now, what would they be solving? What do you see is coming down the pipeline in regards to York County and whether it's AI or aliens or whatever? Like, what do you think is going to be going on? Like, what are you going to be solving for in that seat?
Even currently, and definitely I see it happening going forward, is workforce development and talent in terms of recruiting. It's tough. I don't think a lot of high school guidance counselors and things like that, you don't really know, I'm going to go into public works. It's more of an afterthought. I want to be an engineer, an architect, or something like that. And then that plan kind of fizzles out. And then next thing you know, you're digging ditches or, installing water lines, those kind of things. So I don't think public works as a field is promoted as much as it should be. And then, but I think it should be just in terms of the public service aspect that some people, especially younger people more so today, are looking for a job that means something or matters to them or that they're making an impact in the world. And I feel like solving problems for the public and is a great motivator for that kind of thing. But no, I think that's going to be the challenge is, there's the Great Recession and things like that over the last couple of years where everybody was taking jobs elsewhere and things like that and really couldn't find any applicants to apply for your jobs. We get into the position where we would hire warm bodies and hope to train and develop them, but they're so green and inexperienced that providing that training is a challenge to get them back to what we used to could just hire somebody with that skill set.
Sure. I mean, I see that across all the trades.
Oh yeah, I bet.
They call it the silver tsunami. Guys who are 55 years and older, they're retiring, and then who's going to backfill all these positions? So I totally get that. All right. So how do you keep your sword sharp? I mean, you've been at this for a good amount of time. You could just say, you know what, I know everything. I'm just going to keep taking whatever problems come my way. But I can tell you probably read, you probably go to seminars and conferences and stuff like that. But what do you do intentionally and proactively that keeps you getting better day after day, week after week, year after year?
Yeah. So I'm a huge proponent, anytime I go to a conference or seminar, things like that, I always gravitate towards like the leadership and management topics, not so much technical subjects. So for my own employees, I'm a big advocate for delegating and kind of taking something that I might be able to do in my sleep or just, as routine for me, to give that to them, set them up so they don't fail, of course, kind of support them in that role, but give them these stretch assignments or just something that's outside of their normal day to day that helps them grow in their roles. Well, I like to, I guess, do that same thing for myself. I'll seek out a project or a task that I know is, a hair taller than I am, or just, it'll expand upon a skill set that I know I need to work on, things like that. So even though I'm, self-described introvert or shy, those kind of things, I'm probably one of the first to volunteer to step up and talk to, at a conference or to lead a seminar or do things just kind of outside my comfort zone, because I know those are sort of skills and abilities that I want to focus on and stretch upon and make improvements. So I kind of volunteer for things I know are going to challenge.
No, that's pretty good. It stretches you out a little bit, makes you a little bit better. Yeah.
Sort of like those, same as making a mistake. Those are the best things you learn from. I'm not going to do it like that the next time I do this, or those kind of things. Same thing with volunteering for something that's outside your comfort zone, you learn from those.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Let's say we asked your wife's best friend, "Hey, what does Ryan do all day, every day at work? Like, what does he do for York County, the community?" What would that best friend get totally wrong in answering that question?
Oh, so what would they get wrong? Okay. Well, I mean, like, a lot of people don't know what public works is. You say, "Oh, I'm in public works," all that, and they'll nod and kind of smile, but I don't think they know. And then they'll bring up something related to, say, their water bill or something like that, and you chime in, you're like, "Oh, I know, whatever." And then they're like, "Huh? Oh, you knew that?" So I don't think they know what public works is. So. Um, if we're talking my wife's best friend and that kind of thing, the most probably crazy stories they hear are related to our animal control, just because people and their animals, and
Okay. Yeah.
you hear some crazy stories, and I come home and tell my wife all the time, guess what happened today? And animal control is a lot different than some of our other roads and recycling and things like that. The people are so passionate about it, and just you hear some crazy tales and things like that. But no, I think they would think um I don't know, probably sit in meetings all day and play with spreadsheets and things like that. But I'm more so, I do those things. But I feel like most of my day is probably personnel related, more so. It used to be, I really got into public works because I like project management. I like to see something go from concept to construction, and drive by a site and say, I surveyed that, I designed that, and look at it, it's still standing today. But over the years, it's gotten into more of process management, people management, things like that, which I enjoy. And so most of my day is kind of talking to our various divisions and trying to solve their problems, put out fires, and kind of get them where they need to be.
Sure, sure. Let's say you're commissioned to put up a billboard, and this billboard is in the most trafficked area of York County. What ask of your community, of your county, yeah, are you going to put on this billboard?
Okay. Well, if it's in the most trafficked area, then it's going to probably have the most litter. So I would put on this billboard: stop littering, get a tarp, get some straps, tarp your load, or I don't. I feel like it's sort of a pet peeve. We have a landfill, we have recycling department, and then we have 16 small collection centers all throughout the county, that kind of thing. But the amount of litter that is just everywhere, um, we could do a litter cleanup one day, and then 2, 3 days later, that whole stretch of road is covered again. Just and it's not so much the people throwing it out there with car windows and things like that. It's the commercial trucks and the big trucks and things like that, where it's not tarped, or the tarp isn't fully stretched, and it gets everywhere. So I don't know. I'm just if it's on that busy road, I'd ask them that, hey, don't litter.
Gotcha, gotcha. Don't let her. All right. So let's say I'm coming to town, coming to York County. I'm not sure exactly what city you're in, but let's say York County. And I
All right.
text you ahead of time, and I'm like, "Hey Ryan, give me the spot where I can get the best burger in York County. Where are you gonna send me?"
Okay. Well, so York County, we have probably uh, I think there's somewhere like 10 municipalities total within the county. Some are very small, and then we have three which are a good bit larger. They have 50,000 residents, that kind of thing. Uh, is a community, and mainly it's an old textile. There's factories and warehouses, and a lot of those that are still standing, and a lot of those are being restored, historic buildings and things like that. So I would say if you're coming to town, we're going to hit a place called Hobos. And it's an old Coca-Cola bottling factory that they've renovated and turned. It still looks like an old mill or a factory, but they've upgraded it. And it's a great spot for a burger. They have milkshakes, and then it's also next to, I don't know, a couple breweries, some dessert shops, where all the action's at, I guess.
Gotcha. Hobos. Hobos it is. I like it. All right. So I always like to leave a space on the show for you to think of mentors that you had along your journey. and then also offer a word of inspiration and motivation to your assistant public works director counterparts.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I don't know if I ever had a specific mentor, just this one person that you could say, everything I owe to them, that kind of thing. Thanks so much. But there were definitely a ton of people along the way that I would thank for giving me opportunities to grow and learn. There have been some really strong leaders that I've taken little bits and pieces and, modified those for my own, or I like their skill set and I've tried to, adopt that to a degree. But then there's also been, I guess, poor managers, and you see their skills and you're like, I definitely don't want to be like that as I go forward. So not necessarily a mentor, but just definitely examples of good and bad that I guess taken myself and try to adopt my own leadership style. And then if I'm acting as a mentor, giving advice to a newer employee, I typically try to tell them early on, think about where you want to go, what direction you want to be in. Don't necessarily think, especially if you're entry level, where you're at now. Think about where you want to go, and then, if there's an opportunity to take on, again, we talked those stretch assignments. If there's an opportunity to take on a more challenging project, and you kind of show me you the skill set to grow into that and to grow into, that direction you want to be, then as a mentor, I would love. It's one of the things I love about my job is taking a new hire or somebody like that and watching them grow and develop, take on more and more increasing roles. So yeah, it's those stretch assignments, or just showing them what they have the potential to be capable for too.
Sure. I love the stretch assignments. I'm gonna steal that from you.
I don't know. There's probably other words, but that's kind of how I think about it. It's here's what I can do, and then here's what I'm gonna do a little bit more, and I can do that too.
Yeah, it's like that. They say, "Oh, put your head as high as you can on the wall." All right, now try again, but reach more, and everybody can. It's like, oh yeah, stretched. All right, Ryan. Thank you for hopping on the show, man. Thanks for sharing your information and knowledge with us. To all the listeners out there, make sure you share this with somebody you think needs to hear it. Share this with an assistant public works director, because they're out there in the trenches with Ryan, fighting their battles, just kind of being the in between, but getting it done for everybody. Ryan, any last words before we get out of here?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. I enjoyed checking out your podcasts, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, Ryan. Thanks for coming on. This has been the Public Works Podcast, and thanks for tuning in.